Hey, everybody. Love Business on Lock. Listen, so I always complain about Jay being late, right? So, of course, he's not late, and I can't even say anything because who comes and sits down right when we go on? How are you, handsome? You're wrong. Okay, well, you can fix it all. Wow. I show the world my package. And no, this is not what we did while we were on break. Not at all. No. Not at all.
Yeah, that's about my favorite.
Not at all. However, I am about to hand him off. I am going to hand him off because I've been in love for the last 24 hours. Don't you miss your man?
Little Turk, what's up?
He's nice and sleek, but I am about to hand him off. Jay, open up and do what you need to do. We do have with us tonight Dr. Shanna, and I'm going to let her, I don't want to mess up her last name, so when we bring her in, I'll let her say it, but I'm going to hand him off real quick.
Okay. Love and Business on Lock. Welcome back. We appreciate it. Thank you so much, and hopefully, you had a great start to your new year, and we ain't even gonna say New Year resolutions. Hopefully you've made some changes for the best. You know what I mean? Just mentally, spiritually, physically. You got some things. You got rid of some things you needed to get rid of, and then you brought some things into your life that you actually needed. So let's hope and let's pray that's what happened in this new year. Yes, because that's what kind of happened for me, happened for us. So, just had to quiet some of the noise,
Yes. Open your phone and share it on Facebook. For everybody who's looking in, I'm just going to ask you to open up and share. Yeah, share. I'm going to share for Jay because Jay doesn't know how. And why don't we bring in our guest, Dr. I apologize. Doctor, here we go. Let's bring our guest in. How are you?
Hey, everyone. Hello. Thank you.
How you feeling?
I'm well. I am well, fantastic and amazing.
Me too. Me too. I'm glad. I'm glad you are. I like fantastic.
Yes.
That's one of my favorite words, fantastic.
Yeah, so it's one of mine too, right? So whenever anyone asks, how are you feeling? I always say I'm fantastic and amazing, because if I speak it, then I embrace it, then I feel it, then I be it, despite the circumstance, right? So,
I got you.
Yes.
I apologize for that. Yes, you know what? It's funny because Jay says fantastic, but he uses an adjective in front of it.
Right. Right. But I'm probably not. I'm grown.
You can.
I'm grown. I can say what I
want
need
to say.
But, right. If you want to introduce, yourself, let everybody kind of know, what you have going on, what you're doing, how they can follow you, all of that. You have the floor.
Absolutely. So my name is Dr. Shanna Van Ness Ankrum. Everyone knows me as Dr. Shanna V, or you can simply call me Dr. Shanna. I am a business executive and life coach, where I support individuals and organizations clarify their vision to achieve extraordinary results. I work with individuals as it relates to personal development, professional development, in any area where they may feel stuck and they're looking to release what they believe is holding them back from reaching their highest possibility. I can be followed on Facebook. Yes, Dr. Shanna Van Ness Ankrum. My business page is Dr. Shanna V Coaching. My Instagram page is Dr. SB Van Ness. And my website, drshannav.com.
Okay. All right. And listen, and look, sometimes I have an issue with all the stuff that we have going on. I'll forget. It's a lot. You know what I'm saying? And it's a lot. And it's amazing that you know it all just like that. Because I forget a lot. I forget a lot of stuff, how we got it situated. There's so many things, and we couldn't get this name, and it's just a lot. But we thank you for taking time out your schedule and you know, hanging with us on
Absolutely.
Wednesday. We appreciate it.
And it's 22222.
Yeah.
Today's
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
It is.
Yes, it is.
Yes. It happens. It happens. What? One more time, right?
No.
It does.
When?
22nd.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You're right. The 22nd.
I'm a little smart.
Yeah.
I'm a little smart. I'm a little smart. I do some research. I'm a little smart.
So, Dr. Shanna, tell us about your journey in helping others to tap into their potential.
Yeah, well, absolutely. So my journey started, I would say, just innately a long time ago. I was always that friend or that person that individuals would come to and ask questions, right? Or come to if they had an idea. And I think what made me different than a lot of other people was I didn't interject my opinion or give advice. I simply kept asking more and more questions, right? And more questions. And I began to realize that the questions that I was asking was actually allowing individuals really come up with the answers on their own, because ultimately the answers are inside of us. It just takes time and sometimes other individuals to bring that out of us, right? To give us that clarity. And that clarity comes with those thought-provoking questions, right? Sometimes people are afraid to ask those thought-provoking questions, right? But just through the questioning and being that friend, one day one of my girlfriends was like, well, thank you for coaching me. And I'm like, oh yeah, I did coach you to that, you know, to that next level, right? In their life. So I think from there, I just pursued my passion and went down the path of becoming a certified business executive and life coach.
Right. Doc, listen, we kind of looked at each other because you said something that was that I live by, that we live by. And I'm not here to give you my opinion. I'm not going to give you my opinion. And if you ask for it, then I'll give it to you, because I feel like when you give somebody opinions, that's where this comes at. You know, I'll let her know my opinion. She might not want to take it and might not be feeling what I need to, you know, what I'm saying. And there's a conflict.
Right.
There's a conflict. So I really have learned, and actually I did something on Instagram a few months ago. Well, keep your opinion to yourself. You know what I'm saying? Unless somebody actually asked. And one more thing I wanted to, you know, touch on, and this is not me like beating my, I understand because I happen to be in Home Depot Friday. Went to the bathroom and I'm running to the counter. I'm running behind the store. Store's closed, and you know, basically they wait for me so I can ring up and get out the store so they can go home. And I heard two little guys actually talking. And I stopped in the aisle. They worked there, and I talked to them, just gave them some game on something they were talking about. And they was like, man, we really appreciate you. Thank you. I got halfway down the hall. Big homie, you mentor? And I said, I gave my number, replied back to him and all, because a lot of times I just feel like sometimes people don't know what they don't know.
Correct.
And you can't be mad at me for what I didn't know. I apologize, I didn't know. Yep. But, you know, now I know. Now it's on me. Now I can be accountable for it. But I can't be really accountable for information that I don't have. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And you said something pivotal. You don't know what you don't know. Right. You just don't. Right. And we don't know it all. But the key is when you gain the awareness, you get to do something different. You get to choose something different because you're accountable now because you have that knowledge.
Right.
So, yeah, absolutely.
Right. And that's it. I mean, once you get the knowledge, I mean, you know, then you move accordingly. But I can't be mad or hold you hostage for something that you didn't know. You know? Can't ever do.
Yeah.
Wow. like we really do live by the rule of we do not give our opinion, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And it saves from arguments. It saves from, you know, and I normally will say, you know what, that's not for me. And I actually learned that from Jay. Like someone says, what's your opinion? That's not for me. That's not my opinion. I focus on what I focus on, especially if it's a relationship question. That's not for me. That's not my business. The only relationship I can give you opinion on is my relationship. And the only person I'm giving that opinion to is him. We don't even share because it's tricky, you know. And what I mean by it's tricky, you know, we work together and we're in a relationship, right? So we have to eliminate a lot of noise. And for us, the best way to eliminate noise is that any issues that we have. My best friend doesn't have it. My homegirl doesn't have it. My sister, my daughters, my parents, they don't have it. With him. The only person who can help us in our relationship is us. So I'm not talking to anybody else about it.
You know, right? I don't even use the best friend thing. If we friends, then we family, and I treat you accordingly. Right. I want to be treated. I'm not going to treat you better because you have the adjective in front of the now best. Right. This really ain't how I move. If I deal with you, I deal with you, and I'm gonna treat you as such. You know what I mean? Like when you start putting stuff in front of it, and it's too much.
Yeah, when you put those adjectives in front of it, you're really quantifying it and you're measuring it, right? So yeah, just removing those adjectives, leave the quantification alone, put that to the side. Right. So, yeah, I get it. Absolutely. And, you know, one thing that you said was very important, right? The way you relate to each other. Right. Because, see, we're all in relationship. Just like you said, we're in relationship with friends, with family, but you get to choose how you relate to each other and how you relate to others. And those relationships are separate and distinct. Right. And because they are separate and distinct, they hold uniqueness. Exactly. So within that uniqueness, they are to be held with honor. Right. Right. So, yeah, I get it. 100%.
So what I have to talk about, and I promise you, I was going to say something about it before I started talking about our opinion, but can we not, you have to be from Brooklyn, New York.
How you know?
She like a New York monitor.
Well,
like she knows everybody that she knows.
My family's from Jamaica, Queens, right?
My husband from Jamaica, Queens.
Oh, what's the address? How close to Paisley Park is he from? And so as I was hearing, I knew it was New York, right? But I was like, she's not nasally, so it's not Bronx. She's not over proper, so it's not Long Island. Yeah, she's from Brooklyn.
Yes.
She's from Brooklyn.
Yes, I am from Brooklyn. I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. I grew up actually in Brevoort Projects because that's where my grandparents lived, right? So my parents worked, you know, every day, and they would drop myself and my sibling off at my grandparents' house. So I went to school right in Bed-Stuy, elementary school in Bed-Stuy, middle school in Bushwick, and then actually went to Boys and Girls High School. Right on 1700 Fulton Street, right? So yeah, I raised my older daughters in Brooklyn, like Brooklyn, all day, every day, right? So
yeah, I heard it. I was like, she's not nasally, she's not Bronx.
No, she can spot that out. She can spot that.
Right. Look, I own it to the fullest. Brooklyn, or like I said, all day, every day.
Listen, I tell people all the time, well, depending on, as long as you're not from Baltimore, own where you're from.
But no, I can't take that away.
I can. I do it all the time.
My accent, you can, if I talk to you for a few minutes,
right?
Tell exactly where I'm from. And at one point I was going to go to a speech class, this to try to get rid of it because I'm trying to be universal. And then, you know,
why?
That's my uniqueness.
Correct.
So I'm cool. You know what I'm saying? I'm cool. I made the decision to keep my Baltimore accent. I don't say the T when I say it. You know, right. It is.
And that's fine. Listen, like people pick up that Brooklyn accent, right? It's there.
Yes.
It's not going anywhere, right?
Tell us a little bit more about your coaching and strategic solutions.
Well, so for me in the coaching, right? So again, when working with clients and coaching them, it's really supporting them in releasing areas of their life where they feel stuck, right? And again, that's through that process of just dialogue and holding them accountable for the things that they want to see a change or a shift in, right? And you know, I'm one of those individuals where the way we do some things is the way we do all things until we change the way we do some things and adopt a new way of being.
That
right? So
and
that's right. And so, you know, people call me the committed action queen, right? You say X, you do X. And that's why I say the way you do some things is the way you do all things. You can't say I want to change X, but you still doing Y. It's not, that does not work, right? And it's even reeling it back with individuals. If you don't hang up your clothes, but your house is out of order, what else is out of order? Right? Taking it back and even looking at those small things where you want to see a change in. Then it comes with that layer of strategic solutions. So once again, through the coaching process, I'm not giving you those solutions. You're creating and defining the solutions that work for you. Wow. Because every client is different, right? And again, it comes with everyone being unique and being special in who they are. So when it comes to developing those strategic solutions, it's after those series of coaching sessions. Well, now we've coached. We've identified some action steps. You've accomplished things. You maintained accountability. What's the solution moving forward? Because see, life is lifing, and we may encounter the same hurdles, the same challenges. We may encounter the same person or the same characteristics of a person that was in a person 10 steps back.
Right.
But you learned tools.
Right.
You've built that toolkit. You've identified solutions. Now apply them. Right. So that's where it comes in, with those strategic solutions, when it's working with individual clients in that life coaching aspect.
I think, you know, you use the key word. The key word was accountability. I think that's so key in anything. I mean, in your relationship with family, work, friends, business, money, whatever it is, let's be accountable. Hey, you know what? You know, I did this, and this is the reason why this is. You know what I'm saying? Let's figure out the solution, but we can't figure out the solution until we are accountable.
Correct.
For our actions. And I definitely feel like we would have a lot more relationships or better relationships. We might have been able to save some things.
Right.
If we were accountable.
Correct. And individuals for me, people walk around with so much pride, right? Like that pride gets in the way where they refuse or are resistant to be accountable, right? And as you said, if we make the choice to be accountable, a lot of relationships would be different. And, you know, even again, with working with clients, I really dislike the word "I'm sorry." And I dislike the word "I apologize," right? Like, because There's individuals that keep doing the same thing over and over again. Well, you're not sorry. How are you apologetic if you have not shifted the behavior, if you have not shifted the mindset, right? When being in relationship with others, you know, I simply use the word, I acknowledge my role in what I've done and or what I've said. Okay. Based on my acknowledgement, can we move forward?
Right.
Because see, if I'm sorry, I can't be sorry and keep doing the same thing.
Right.
Right. Because see, that lacks accountability.
Right.
If you are choosing not to make a shift. So again, for me, it's changing the language, changing the mindset in working with clients. And sometimes that's really the root and foundation. Right. Language and mindset, they go hand in hand. Right. Language, mindset, and then behaviors. Because when you speak the words and it's coming from here and it's authentic. But again, we also have to learn to be authentic with ourselves before we can be authentic with others.
Exactly.
Right. So again, it's the language, the mindset, and then the behavior.
Exactly.
Let me ask you something. I'm gonna say a word, and then you tell me kind of what it means, and then I'll kind of double back and ask you and tell you why I asked that.
Okay.
Emotions.
Emotions. They are real. They are to be respected. They are to be heard. And for me, it's what ignited or triggered the emotion.
Right.
Which is very important.
And the reason why I even brought that up is because what I've learned, you know, and this is what I've learned in business and dealing with people, whatever the case may be, that I do my best to take the emotions out of it so I can make a very logical and thought out decision on whatever is going on. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You are making because we have emotions, but I had an incident that happened a week ago. Mm-hmm. Had an incident that happened a week ago. She talked me off the ledge about something. I was on fire. Like I was on fire. Like, and I'm not even that kind of guy, you know, where I'm that mad about something. Mm-hmm. But before I did anything, when I was dealing with the situation, I had to take a second, step back, and not use emotions when I said to this individual. And right. Then Cass, look, I know you mad. I'll never see you this mad. So I can't, but I would never let them see that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because then I'm making a bad decision out of emotion. And that decision could have cost me some things. You know what I'm saying? Could have cost me some things. And even when we do business, hey, listen, let's take the emotions out of it so we can make a real decision and push forward. We're not going to make a decision out of emotion. Let's think it out. Let's take some time. Let's step back and let's make the most sensible and logical decision. You know, just pull back, because when you really think about emotions, people have lost significant others. They have lost family members. They have lost jobs. They have lost businesses. They have lost time on the streets, being locked up, incarcerated. People have lost lives dealing with emotions.
Right.
Did not make a real effort to calm their emotions down and make the right decision before they jumped out the window and did whatever they did.
Well, and again,
Doc, I'm sorry.
No, because you've said some really great things in what you said. Because what you identified was a strategic solution. Right. So we're human beings. We experience things. It is okay as a human to allow our experience to be our experience.
Right.
A result of the experience is the emotion. The strategic solution is identifying what triggered the emotion. Assess how is the emotion serving you presently? How will the emotion or acting on the emotion serve you in the future? See, when you can press pause and create that solution.
I heard it there. I heard it
you
there.
heard it when she said
when I can
pause.
press pause. I heard it there. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, and and really assess the emotion, because see, and I said a key word, trigger. Something triggered that emotion. Something ignited that feeling. Regardless to what that feeling was or what that emotion was, it was real because you felt it. Because it triggered that feeling of anger. But again, that strategic solution was, hold on, wait a minute. Let me think this through. Let me breathe for a minute. Let me talk this through. Let me make the best decision. How do I do that? I breathe. I assess. What was it that got me to this level? Because see, sometimes emotions are triggered because in a certain circumstance, X person is saying something to you that someone else said to you 5 years ago and triggered that current emotion. See, because again, there are things that we walk around that we have not yet released.
So I have two things. One, I want us to dig a little bit more into what we're talking about, emotions. And then I want to go back to something that you said when we were talking about change, right? So let's first go back to the emotion side of it. So we understand the strategic solution, right? We step back from something and we compartmentalize exactly why we were triggered. So now that situation's over, you realize what the trigger is, and you now decide, well, let me go back and say, hey, X, Y, and Z triggers me, right? This is my trigger. Once you are accountable for what triggers you and you take that back, when it happens constantly, to me, that feels like I told you what my trigger is, but you keep doing it. So you just don't care about my feelings, you know? So how do you deal with a situation like that?
So again,
the other person may feel like, I care about your feelings, but this is just who I am. I'm not going to change it, and this is how I'm going to do it. Which to me, you have no regards for the other person.
Correct. So, and I get that scenario as you've laid it out. And there comes a point in time where self-preservation is not selfish. So I'll repeat, self-preservation is not selfish. If you are in said situation and you've communicated how you feel and how you want to be treated and or how you want to be talked to, right? When that person continues to show up in a way that doesn't serve you, you get to choose how you want to manage the relationship. See, we're in control of our relationships because we get to control who we are and how we show up. When we show up, we want to see a mirror of how we show up. And there are times when that is not the case. As a result, there are times where it's okay if you are constantly being disrespected and or disregarded, right? You get to self-preserve. Some people can sit in the balcony. Some can sit in the front row. But you have to be okay with you and how you want to be held, right? And if you want to be held in a regard that you feel you are not being held in, it's okay, once again, to put that relationship on pause.
Pause.
Right.
Pause.
Right.
So what happens when you have a creature of habit? Because that's, hey, I'm a creature of habit. This is how I do things. At that point, if you know that the person is a creature of habit, is it okay because this is what you accept? Or should there be some type of compromise?
Well, how are you showing up? Because you might be showing up in a way where they believe that that's still okay.
And that's
showing up.
Right. You keep showing up. Right. You keep showing up.
Right. So people are going to people. We all are going to be who we are. Right? When you've identified those characteristics in ways of being that don't align with what resonates with you, my question would be, well, what you keep going back for? Right? You can't control how other people relate to you. You can't control their process of change. Change is a process, right? So even in you communicating how you want to be treated, how you want to be talked to, that really don't have nothing to do with them. Got more to do with you. So if they have not owned or adopted their ways of being to make a shift for you out of love for you, then my question would be, well, what you keep going back for? You can change. You have the power to change the relationship. Don't wait on them to make the shift and change. You choose, or you get to choose something different.
It was funny, and I was trying to not to jump in because we kind of briefly had a conversation like that briefly today, and you can't, you make whatever. That's just how they are. Well, whatever the case may be, and some other things need to be done in order for it not to affect us.
You just confused me. Like, I'm like, you were talking so vague. What are you trying to say, baby?
We had a conversation. We had a conversation today.
Okay.
And I was saying, this is how this person moves.
Oh.
Right? And so either we're going to do what we need to do, or we got some decisions to make. And we talked about that. You know what I'm saying? And that just kind of doubled back basically on what Doc was saying. It's just, we got to control it. Like, ain't no need to,
right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Because again, when you're in relationship, again, whether it's a significant other, a business partner, people you're doing business with, you are accountable for your role in the relationship. They are accountable for their role in the relationship. But if there's misalignment, see, it's one thing to disagree, right? Because we don't have to agree on everything. But if we can come to an alignment for the vision of the relationship, or why the relationship is in the place that it's in, then we can move forward. But if you are in a place where you've communicated, you authentically communicated, you've done this on several occasions, and there's still no change, you get to be in control and own your power in the relationship, and you choose to do something different.
Absolutely. Doc, I'm gonna make a comment and then I'm gonna go back to the other thing that I want to talk about.
Okay.
What really, if we were to dive in a little bit more about the situation that Jay's talking about, what I said to him after, because we do business together, right? So he's not just my business partner, he's my man. So, sometimes he has to sit there when we're doing business and be like, okay, I think I need to be the equal medium, because my firecracker she's gonna pop all the way off, right? But at the same time, he's like, oh, but I gotta protect her too, right?
Right.
So what I said to him was, after the particular situation that we were dealing with in business, he said to me something, and I am a firm believer. And I say, anybody who knows anything about me, knows anything about our relationship, whenever he does something and it's 100% right, I am going to be I'm the first one. Yo, I'm glad you said that, you know. Mm-hmm. He said to me in the conversation, he said, listen to me. He said, I normally fight for stuff, but what I will say to you is this. If it is going to impede on our relationship, or if it is going to stress you out to a point that it's hurting us, we're not going to do it. Simple as that. We're not going to do it, because I cannot have you upset. And I can't have anything to come on top of anything else we already have to deal with in everyday life. And I recognize that as his way of protecting me. Because protection doesn't always have to be somebody putting their fist up and fighting. Protection doesn't always have to be somebody cursing someone out. Sometimes protection is just, I'm going to choose us over everything else. And because I'm choosing us over everything else, I just need you to know, look, you tell me no and we're done, you know? Right. And I had to, I took it in, and I heard him when he said it, but he was trying to get to the gym, so I couldn't tell him then. So, and I wanted some time to pass, because I felt like if I said it right then, he would have just thought I was saying it. But with time passing, he knows that I really consumed what he said. Right. And I really heard him. And so I just wanted to share that with you, because what I will say is I have the best business partner in the world. I have the best personal relationship, because, you know, he's going to correct me when I'm wrong in private. And he is going to praise me when I'm right in private and in public, you know. And sometimes we as African-American women, we as brown women, don't necessarily tell our men that, you know. Right. And you have to be able to not only be their peace, but you have to also be able to tell them when you appreciate them. And yes, you did this right. And yes, you did that right. And no, you don't always do this right, but you did this right today. And I acknowledge that, because they have so many people who want to tear them down and tell them what they're not doing right, that if they don't get it at home, then where else can they get it?
Correct. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely 100% right. And again, it's also, and here we go back to this word, right? Accountability and authenticity, right? And if you can't be accountable, then who are you being, right? Okay. And if you're not authentic, then who are you being? And I think it's just fantastic and amazing that you both have this type of relationship and can relate to one another in that way, right? Because there's so many couples that know they cannot work together and you know, be in relationship with each other, because it can be tough, right? But again, it's about choices, right? And Jay came to you and said, we can choose this or not choose that. And it's really important that individuals realize, listen, there is power in choice.
Right.
Choosing is power.
Yeah, and you said something key as well, you know, about being authentic and authenticity. And saying, you know, that accountability, being authentic, being transparent is big as well. Like, like, just be transparent, be real. It's because these things stop half of the issues in everything. Well, people be locked up, lost relationships, lost friendships, all of that.
Right. And, you know, it's interesting you use the word transparent. You know, when one is transparent, there comes a sense of responsibility. Right. So people tend not to choose transparency because they don't want to own the responsibility that comes with it, right? So again, being transparent is like, you listen, this is who I am on Monday. If you catch me on Saturday, this is who I'm transparent, I'm authentic. That's it. Right? And oftentimes people have challenges with being transparent because they don't want to accept the responsibility or accountability in their choices, actions, words, or behaviors. Right. You know, I tell my husband all the time, there's nothing that you will never know about me before I done told you, because I'm gonna tell you.
You know what? It's so funny you said it, because I say it all the time to people. Listen, you can't tell Jay nothing about me he don't know, because before you go run and tell it, I done already told him I did.
I don't already told, right?
I told him.
Right. Because it's about being accountable. Now, if there's an emotion behind what you telling them up front, then we got to deal with the emotion. However, you will never be in a position to say you didn't know, because that is being transparent. That is being accountable. That is being authentic. And that is when the tongue in your mouth is going in the same direction as the tongue in your shoes.
And in some instance, I may be a little bit more honest than what I've gotten told. I said this, and this is why I said it. You know?
Yes, right. Yeah. I said this because in this moment, this is right. Yeah.
And he usually laughs and says, I know you did. You know, just because some things is just like, I know you did it. You know, like.
You know,
I can't do nothing.
If I feel like she shouldn't have did it, I'll say it.
Yeah, he'll say it.
He was out of pocket.
Right.
You out of pocket. You know what I'm saying? And this is why I think you are out of pocket.
And I have to take it. Right? I have to take it, you know, because that's his opinion. And he's not saying anything to me to hurt me, you know. Anything that he's saying to me, he's saying it to me to help me grow.
Right. You know, I always say, you know, to individuals, we say things in love with love.
Right.
And if we choose to hear it that way, again, it's a choice. If we choose to hear it that way, once again, a lot of things can be alleviated, right? Because you know who's speaking to you and you know where they're coming from, right? And when individuals are speaking with you from their heart, trust and accept that it is coming to you in love with love.
Gotcha. Let's double back to something you were talking about as far as business, right? And you were saying basically when you talk to your clients, it is, you can make a change, you know, in order to get to a certain place, you have to make the change, right? So
you don't have to, you can choose to.
Yeah, you can choose to. If you want to grow, you'll choose to change, right?
Yeah.
So let's just talk a little bit more about that, because sometimes I feel like in life, we are comfortable doing something a certain way. So because we're comfortable, we don't want to be uncomfortable in order to get to where we need to go. And unfortunately, it's in that moment of being uncomfortable, that's where you grow. And that's where you get to see the world for a bigger place than where it is. And you realize, you know, maybe my way is not the right way, or maybe how I'm doing it is not, because I say this all the time. It's crazy because before we got together, I remember I used to say this to Jay. You keep doing the same things, the same ways, and we come back to square one. Something has to change, right? And so it's the same thing. Yeah, as a matter of fact, right in front of this house, I said it to you. Okay. You don't remember me saying that?
I was asking. I just wanted to refresh your course. That's it.
You don't.
I just wanted to refresh your course.
So I'm saying all of this to say, because I would like for you to dive in a little. I know even us in our business, sometimes we may feel stagnant, or we may question, well, why aren't we getting here? And I'm a firm believer it's because we got to do things different, right? Mm-hmm. And even if it doesn't seem comfortable, just what has to happen. And so I just wanted you to talk about it from the perspective of being a business coach.
Yes, absolutely. So, everything you've said, I've heard before, right? And oftentimes comfortability can equate or translate to being stuck or becoming stuck. And the question then becomes, in working with business owners, well, what do you think it would look like if you chose something different? If you chose something different, what do you think you can create? Different than what you're doing right now, different than what's happening right now. We know what's happening right now, right? We know what has happened then. We know what is going on right now. But what is it that we can do next? Now, what has you comfortable? What are you liking about this particular situation? Okay. But now what if you chose to do something different? And if you decided to do one thing different, just one, don't go jumping out the window and taking leaps, just one. What would that one thing be? And in choosing that one thing, what would it open up for you? What would it create? What could you create with just that one thing opening up for you? What's holding you back from taking the risk? Who are you not trusting? Are you not trusting yourself? Because oftentimes when we get comfortable, we stay there and we stay stuck because we're not trusting our own ability and our own capability to do something different and what's next. So I assess the levels of comfortability. And then I do activities that may make a person feel uncomfortable. Because when you're comfortable in your business, oftentimes that's because there's areas of comfortability even in your personal space that you may have not done something different about. And we all want to feel safe. We all like to be in the know, right? We like to feel that we're confident about what we know, right? Because we know what we know. But we started this conversation by saying, you don't know what you don't know. Right. But if you don't know what you don't know, what's stopping you from knowing? What's stopping you from getting there? Like, at what point will you take that responsible risk to do something different? And again, with business owners, it's really, again, it's hard for us, right? Like, we're human. When we're comfortable, we're comfortable. But we know if we keep doing the same thing and getting the same result, but we already know that there's more out there because we live in a world of abundance. There's more. Well, how do we get to that next level of abundance? How do we get there? It's a choice. We got to choose to get unstuck. We got to release that fear. We got to release whatever it is inside that we are holding on to that has manifested itself inside of us, and step out and say, I trust me. I trust I got this. I trust it will be okay. Wow. And I get to choose.
Gotcha. Hear you loud and clear. Mm-hmm. Clear. What else you got?
That's what I had. Yeah.
I hope I answered your question.
Man, did you? Like, that just, that was because we are very transparent. We are very transparent. And sometimes this podcast is for others, sometimes it's for us. Sometimes it's a mixture of both,
Sometimes it can be from us to our guests. Right. You know what I mean? That's the great thing about the podcast is I think it's food for all parties involved.
Absolutely.
Both ends, and whoever's on right now, whoever will watch later on, it's just food, and it's documented in some kind of way, shape, form, fashion. You've had some of these thoughts, or you've dealt with some of these issues, or things, hurdles that you need to get over, get under, get through, and we're here to offer some advice, and you know, the guy that you hear talking to you now, this wasn't that guy. Same guy some years ago. It just wasn't. I didn't have the knowledge. I didn't have a chance to, you know, do some things, and it was things I needed to experience, and losses and wins, and you know, research, and you know, it all is you know, all comes together. You know, it all comes together.
Right. Yeah, and one thing I wanted to say even is that, you know, just what you said, when you are in this body of work, right? Like even with your podcast or me as a business coach, and sometimes I've owned and accepted the responsibility that I get to be the voice for the voiceless, and understand that in everything that I do, I'm not only lifting as I climb, I'm also being lifted, because as I'm coaching, I'm coaching myself, right? There are things that I am speaking or that may come to me in working with a particular client, and that resonates with me somewhere, right? So as I'm speaking it, I'm owning it and receiving it as well. And that is like the purpose of this type of work. Right? It's a cycle. That's why it, as a coach, and even with you all in the podcast and people who leave comments or chat as we go along, we're not only speaking outward, but whatever we're speaking outward, we're owning what we speak. If it's coming out of our mouth and rolling off of our tongue, we get to own what we're saying as well. Right? And create those shifts and changes and whatever that may be.
Right. Listen, I am this was good. I didn't, you know, it's funny because I never know what we're going to get from podcast to podcast. I this, you know, full disclosure, I never know. And I just always feel like, you know, get some food out of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really do get some food out of it. So before you go,
yes,
one more time, how can they follow the movement, Doc?
Yes, absolutely. So once again, this is Dr. Shanna Van Ness Ankrum, also known as Dr. Shanna V, and you can just call me Dr. Shanna. You can follow me on Facebook at Dr. Shanna V Coaching. You can follow me on Instagram at Dr. SB Van Ness, and you can always contact me through my website at www.drshannav.com.
Dr. Shanna V. Listen, I don't want to mess up the other part of it, so I'm just, let me Shanna V. Let me get out. And it's funny because, like, I know people that spell a name like that, but say it a different way. You know what I mean? So even in talking to you, I'm concentrating like I'm a professional. I gotta make sure I say it right. I definitely don't want to mess your name, because I know, like, I have a bowling partner that her name is spelled exactly like that, but it's Shanna instead of.
Yeah.
So we thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I had a great time.
We had a great time as well.
Yeah.
Thanks.
A lot of jewels dropped.
Right.
A lot of jewels dropped.
Thank you so much. And that's what the purpose is.
Yes.
You know, that's what the purpose is. This authentic information can't be. You know what I'm saying? Can't beat it. I don't know when is the next Love Business on Lock?
Actually, the next one is Wednesday. Next Wednesday.
Okay. All
right. We took a little hiatus, so this is the first one of season 5.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, this is the first one of season 5. Thank you so much. And of course, we were going to start back because it's Love Month, and I really love this guy. This guy right here. I really love him. So.
And really, full disclosure.
You don't love me?
That's not what I was talking
about.
I just full disclosure. Sometimes I'm trying to be politically correct when I say this, but sometimes we gotta kind of just take back over what is rightfully ours. You know what I'm saying?
Ooh, and you just preached the word, brother.
Some copycatters, or some folks that you know, we dealt with and really tried to, which is fine, you know.
That's
you know,
flattery, right?
That's the best form of flattery.
Right.
You know, imitation is the best form of flattery, so it's cool. But I mean, you know, just I'd rather you.
Sometimes you got to take back what you
add your own spin to it, and what what's for us is for us, and what's for everybody else is for everybody else. So that's why I have a conversation with this one, like, I think, I don't care. I don't care what they do. I don't care.
Right. And trust that there is more than enough. We live in abundance, right?
Yes.
There is more than enough.
So in closing, what I will say is I do know that you're working on a television project. So as soon as you finish it, of course, we want you to come back on and talk about it.
Absolutely.
There's more details about it.
We are working on the television project.
That we'll talk to you about offline. So soon as we end, we'll don't go out, because we'll talk to you about it offline as well.
Okay.
All right. So thank you so much. We appreciate it. Thank you. Love and Business on Lock podcast season 5. I need a manicure. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Season 5. All right. Y'all take care. Enjoy your hump day. Enjoy the rest of your week. We're trying to get you over the hump.
And if you are in the DMV tomorrow.
Oh, Newark, 5716 York Road. Am I correct?
You're correct.
There's so many addresses I've been trying to remember.
Because he has another one to give out.
Yeah, but
and on Sunday.
6 p.m. 8 p.m. to midnight. Let's say that 8 p.m. to midnight. Upstairs, food, drink, hookah, great throwback 90s. I go from really early 2000 to the 70s, whatever feels good. Whatever mood I'm in.
Old school with a little bit of current.
But, with a little bit of current. With a little bit of current music. And then Palisades, Georgia Avenue. Not sure what the address is. Silver Spring.
2910 Georgia Avenue.
And that is 4 p.m. to 12 p.m. Food, drinks, hookah.
And if you are in Richmond on next Thursday, we have...
grand opening of...
No, not grand opening. That's Atazio Sessions in Love. Is next Thursday.
That's the next Thursday.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So the private membership
is the following.
I'm sorry. She does dates. That ain't what I do. I don't do dates. That's not.
Well, when I'm coming through that way, I gotta connect with y'all.
Yeah. Well, so we are from the DMV to Atlanta. So when you come to Atlanta, we're in Atlanta as well. Right. Oh yeah.
Right.
So yeah, absolutely. So with that said. Everybody, we'll see you next Wednesday.
Yeah, please be safe. Have an amazing week on purpose, amazing day, minute, hour on purpose.
And tell somebody you love them. If you love them,
because this is not promised. And end of the day, just you pick up the habits of the people closest around you. So make sure you watch your circle. That is so. It has to be some value. If there's no value, then what is the purpose?
Correct.
Love and Business on Lock podcast. Thank you so much. Doc, hold on.
All right.